Thank you. So Miles, I'll take you up on your challenge first, because obviously, I could take my worst French accent to tell you a little joke. So how can you tell that? No, the question is, why do the French eat snails? Because we don't like fast food. Oh, there you go. Another one, maybe? Yeah, how can you tell a plane is from British Airways? It flies on the left. There you go. So there's French. That's enough. That's good for today. So now for something completely different. I'm going to go to my presentation and actually tell you a bit about my key learnings at M&S 2013 to 14. A quick reminder of what M&S actually does in terms of international websites. M&S, as you probably remember, has pulled out of all that was international like 12 years ago and then came back to international 3 years ago with both stores and websites. And in 2012 began to build a proper international multi-channel business with store presence and localized websites. And that's what I'm going to focus on, with a particular focus on trading, which was my assignment. It was globally managed from London, Paddington Basin, but you'd have local sites operated in 10 countries: France, Spain, Germany, it's twice Spain here, sorry, Netherlands, Austria, China, through Tmall, the marketplace, and the Republic of Ireland, Belgium, and Luxembourg. The delivery to the rest of the world would go through the UK website, so the .com. And clearly, I mean, with regards to international, the main challenge at the time was, around brand awareness, because M&S having pulled out for so long, you'd have to rebuild the brand in many ways. Deliver options, like service, everything is shipped from the UK. Legal and payment, all these kind of, little challenges as well. And logistics with the central warehouse and, looking at how to deal with returns in particular. So one first insight, and I think that's really, when you deal with the brand like M&S, you'd realize that actually you cannot necessarily duplicate everything everywhere. So, and I think that applies to a lot of retailers. They think they can just send the same assortment outside of the UK, but it doesn't necessarily work. So M&S actually sells different products in each region. You'd realize that in Australia, for instance, the top sellers are cashmere and basics versus the US, top sellers being schoolwear. So first learning, interesting one. Kidswear was by far the strongest department in Ireland. Not very surprising, I would say. And I launched something that was called So British at the time to have a proper English shop on the French website. And it did work well with particularly Max and formal coats and also Savile Row inspired suits and the likes of them. And then to come back to Germany, baby wear performed well in Germany and was perceived as good value because the competition is not very strong there. So you'd see that different patterns happen because the brand obviously is perceived differently and has different strengths in each market. So for instance, in Australia, M&S was perceived as a value brand. You see Rosie here. And lingerie sets in Australia were actually very cheap for that market, so doing really, really well. And there was the strength of the Australian dollar helped. M&S is not quite yet considered as a fashion brand in either Germany or France. It's more famed for the food, and actually people shop the food stores rather than the fashion stores. So there's a kind of a authority element or credibility element around fashion that still has to happen in these countries. And And then again, my challenge to the brand was to say, well, you have a quality and innovation statement in the UK that is very famous, and also, you know, all the Plan A kind of things, but that's not promoted outside of the UK. Why not? I mean, also there was an element of, you know, doing, you know, things that others don't do outside of the UK. So yeah, we're coming back to the ways of trading, ways of buying for customers, and it comes down to, I mean, what you've seen just now is how customers shop locally, and they want to shop with a local shop rather than an international one. So they want to have that feeling that they're shopping with someone local. And so customers have different expectations. In Australia, they're happy to wait 2 weeks for delivery because they're getting a good deal. In Ireland, they will look for the best value and durability, particularly in kids wear. And in the Latin markets, it's more promotional led. So you'd want to have, you know, promotions going. Whereas, for instance, in Germany, people are not so keen on promotions. They'd rather have service as a highly promoted element. And that's the point around having, for instance, trusted shops on the website, which means that you can trade in Germany. It's something that everyone has. It's a warranty and a label. So a couple of takeaways when going international. Don't take your brand for granted outside of the home territory. And for M&S, it was moving from only at your M&S, that logo out there, to M&S London, and making it more of a British heritage brand rather than the brand that you know here. Your bestsellers will vary from one place to another, and that's what I've just demonstrated here. For fashion retailers, size that does matter. You have to take into account the differences in physiology as well. Size 6 and 8 is good for France and Italy, and you have to have enough stock of those, and there's never enough. Same with color, actually, size and color do matter. And as I said, you know, don't forget about your expat base. Sometimes they're very big. I'm talking about Australia here, but also we realized at M&S that in Spain there were a lot of expats that were looking for, like, you know, home products like bedding and all these kind of elements that they moved to Spain with. So adapting and localizing, that's my conclusion, is not just about just a question of translation. And obviously you need to get that right if you feel that translating is important, but you also need to adapt to the local cultures. That's it for me.